So today we're starting something brand new on the channel. I announced it on Twitter as well as my community tab last night, but we're starting something new. It is the 12 days of MLB rankings. On the 12 days that lead up to Christmas, including Christmas Day, I'll be releasing a ranking video about every position, sometimes team, and then on Christmas Day, I'm ending it with my top 50 players in Major League Baseball. So without further ado, let's get it started today with ranking catchers. 12 days of rankings, another day, another video ranking the best players at each position in Major League Baseball. Today, as you can tell from the title, I'm gonna be ranking the best catcher from every team in Major League Baseball. Catcher's a bit of a tougher position because there's the obvious guys at the top and then everyone else in the middle is kind of just all the same. So some of your favorite players might be a little lower than you think. These are just going off my personal opinions. I was a catcher throughout my playing days. That's the position I know best. So I'm not only going off of stats, but I'm also going off of what I see defensively and what I see from watching games. As always, if you guys do enjoy these ranking videos, make sure to leave a like. That's the best way to show your support on the channel. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you don't want to miss out on any of these rankings, make sure you're subbed. Remember to get in the comment section down below. Give me your thoughts and opinions on these rankings. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. I'm always talking baseball over there. So the first catcher of today's video, number 30 on our list, is going to be Jose Trevino of the Texas Rangers. Fangraphs has him projected as their starting catcher in 2020. We really haven't seen a whole lot out of him to really be able to say much about him. Only played in 43 games in his major league career. And in those 43 games, I haven't really seen much. 2 homers, 9 doubles, 16 RBIs, 258 average with a 271 on base, 375 slugging, and a 646 OPS. Jose Trevino just doesn't really do much for me. I don't see a whole lot there, so he's gonna be my 30th ranked catcher. At the number 29 spot, I'm gonna go with Colorado Rockies catcher Tony Wolters, who is pretty much the definition of a defensive catcher because he does almost nothing offensively. Last year, he hit 1 homer, 17 doubles, and 2 triples in 359 at-bats, a 262 average, which isn't terrible, but a 337 on base combined with a 329 slugging percentage gives him a 666 OPS. Ignore the fact that that's the number of the devil. This guy just not a great offensive catcher. Defensively, he's pretty strong, catches a great game, but he offers almost nothing at the plate, so I'm gonna put him at 29. Coming in at number 28, I'm gonna go with Baltimore Orioles catcher Chance Sisco, and even if it was Pedro Severino, probably in the same spot. Sisco hasn't played a whole lot in the majors thus far, only 132 games in his career, 12 homers, 17 doubles, 40 RBIs, a 203 batting average with a 319 on base, 357 slugging, and a 676 OPS. Those just aren't very good offensive numbers. Sisco has hit better in the minors, but thus far in the major leagues, I'm just not impressed with what I've seen at the plate. Defensively, he's a bit hit or miss there. He's definitely not like a gold glover by any means, and he's definitely not Gary Sanchez. So based off what I've seen for Chance Sisco, I think 28's a good spot. Coming in as the 27th best catcher in Major League Baseball, I'm gonna go with Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy at one point in his career was one of the top catchers in the game. Only a few years ago, honestly, with Milwaukee. But the last few seasons have been really rough. His OPS has been below 700, which is very bad. He's not hitting for a good average, barely hitting for any power, and even defensively, his game has definitely taken a downhill turn. So Jonathan Lucroy at one point was a great catcher, but right now he's really nothing more than just a backup, and if you use him as a starter, you're not getting one of the best in the game. Number 27. For the 26th best catcher in Major League Baseball, I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay Rays catcher Mike Zunino. Zunino is a defensive catcher. He's one of the best framers in the game, one of the best defensive catchers in the game, but at the plate, there's just not a lot there. He's pretty much hit a home run or strikeout kind of guy. He only played 90 games last year, hit 9 homers with 10 doubles and a triple, struck out 98 times in 266 at-bats. Like, that is shockingly bad. A 165 batting average, 232 on base, 312 slugging, and a 544 OPS really doesn't help. Zunino definitely swings a bit of a noodle at the plate. Sometimes he hits it out, a lot of the times it's a strikeout. So his defensive numbers boost him up here, but still not great. Number 26. At number 25, I'm gonna go Jacob Stallings, the catcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Another one of these guys who really hasn't got a whole lot of playing time, but he projects to be their starting catcher in 2020. Based on what I've seen last year, I'm a little more optimistic than what I saw from other guys. In 191 plate appearances in 2019, he had 6 homers, 5 doubles to give him 13 RBIs, 262 batting average, 325 on base, 382 slugging, and a 708 OPS. Defensively, very strong, really good behind the plate. I don't necessarily know how much production we're going to get out of him offensively in 2020, but I'm thinking that's going to be a little more than the guys below him. Add that to a solid glove. Jacob Stallings is a decent catcher. Former Gold Glove Award winner Tucker Barnhart is going to be the 24th best catcher in Major League Baseball, in my opinion. Back in 2017, Tucker Barnhart won the Gold Glove, had the best season of his career, which still really wasn't great, and since then, his numbers really haven't gotten much better. In fact, they've gotten worse. 2019, he had 11 homers and 14 doubles, 231 average, which was a career low, 328 on base, 380 slugging, and a 708 OPS, just not very solid. Switch hitting catcher, which definitely is nice, and like I said, defensively, he is pretty solid. So for those reasons, I put him a little bit higher up on this list, but still, Tucker Barnhart definitely in the bottom tier of catchers. The 23rd best catcher in Major League Baseball is going to go to Reese McGuire. Tough to decide who is going to be the starting catcher for the Blue Jays. I'm going to go with Reese McGuire. If it was Danny Jansen, a little bit lower, keep that in mind. But Reese McGuire can definitely hit. That's something that we haven't seen with a lot of these catchers thus far. Now, he's only played in 44 more games in Major League Baseball, but his numbers are looking decent offensively. 7 homers, 10 doubles, 15 RBIs, 297 batting average with a 343 on base, 539 slugging, and 882 OPS. Those are plus numbers for a catcher behind the plate. If he had a 162 game average, he's hitting close to 30 homers with 30 doubles. That's a nice year. Now, of course, that's not realistic for him as a catcher every single day, but I think Reese McGuire's bat looks pretty solid, and defensively, he's about average, so I think that's not too bad. So I'll keep him at 23, not too high just yet. Oakland A's catcher Josh Phegley is going to be the 22nd best catcher in Major League Baseball, in my opinion. He had a career season in 2019 where he played in a career high games at 106, hit 239 with a 282 on base, 411 slugging, and a 693 OPS. Not necessarily career highs, but he finally started to get consistent playing time. 12 homers, 18 doubles, 62 RBIs. I think Josh Phegley actually is a pretty decent catcher, better off in a platoon role, backup if anything, but I did see some stuff in 2019 that leads me to believe that he can repeat the numbers that he had. So I think Phegley in a better ballpark maybe. He is a free agent this year. His offensive numbers could get better. I'm gonna put him at the 22 spot. Just missing out on the top 20. Coming in at number 21, I've got Padres catcher Francisco Mejia, who personally I don't think is a catcher at all. Having seen the guy do some drills and watch him in games, not a catcher, but that's the position where he's been playing, so we gotta treat him as one. In 2019, he played in 79 games, hit 8 homers, 11 doubles, and 2 triples with 22 RBIs, a 265 average with a 316 on base, 438 slugging, and a 754 OPS. He's a switch hitter, takes monster hacks at the plate. Like, the guy is definitely gonna be a pretty decent hitter if he can shorten up that swing a little bit. But like I said, defensively, he's atrocious. Cannon of an arm, absolute hose, but he's terrible at framing, boxes a lot of pitches, blocks pretty decently well. He is an athletic guy, but overall, this isn't the spot for him. But based on his offense, I gotta put him at 21 because he's a better offensive catcher than a lot of the guys I named. Getting the top 20 started, let's go with Washington Nationals catcher Yan Gomes. I know he's not the official catcher because he does split time with Kurt Suzuki, but they're both gonna be on this list because they're both pretty solid. Yan Gomes more the defensive catcher of the duo, but he can swing the bat a little bit. 12 homers, 16 doubles in 97 games. Low average kind of guy, 316 on base with a 389 slugging, 704 OPS, not bad, especially when you consider what he brings defensively. He's really good defensively, great catcher, handles the pitching staff very well. That's like his biggest plus. So with pretty much average hitting and above average defense, I think 20 is the perfect spot for him. For the 19th best catcher in baseball, we've got newly acquired Atlanta Braves catcher Travis d'Arnaud. I saw this guy play a lot with the Mets. He can definitely hit. That's always been the positive with him. The negative is that he's not great behind the plate, frame and blocks beautifully, but boy does he have a horrible arm. You can run for days on this guy. I'm not sure if I've ever seen him throw someone out. 2019 spent time with the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Rays, but mostly the Rays. 16 homers, 16 doubles, and 67 RBIs in 92 games, 263 average with a 323 on base, 459 slugging, and a 782 OPS. Those are really good offensive numbers for him in Tampa Bay. It's always a matter of whether or not this guy can stay healthy. If he does, he's gonna hit for you. If he doesn't, you're gonna get bad offense, and you're gonna get people stealing on you every single time they get on base. At number 18, we've got a defensive catcher who started to hit last year, and that's Roberto Perez. Prior to 2019, Perez was a backup catcher who pretty much was only there because of defense, but 2019 showed he can swing the bat a little bit. 24 homers, 9 doubles, and a triple to give him 63 RBIs. Pretty much all career highs in the offensive category for him. 239 batting average, career high, 321 on base, 452 slugging, and a 774 OPS. Combine that with being disgusting behind the plate defensively, one of the better defensive catchers in the American League. He won the Gold Glove. Roberto Perez actually has value. I put him in D tier last year. I was wrong. He's a little bit higher. For the 17th best catcher in Major League Baseball, I got Jorge Alfaro of the Miami Marlins. Of course, traded for JT Realmuto last season. Honestly, he's not that bad. I actually like Jorge Alfaro a lot. 18 homers, 14 doubles, and a triple to give him 57 RBIs. He's one of the more athletic catchers in the league, like just as athletic as JT Realmuto actually. 262 batting average, 312 on base, 425 slugging, and a 736 OPS. Puts him right about average at the plate, but he's got an absolute hose of an arm. Like I said, he's athletic. He can move around. He blocks. I really like Jorge Alfaro. I think in a better lineup with a better team, he's actually going to find his way higher up on this list. But based on what I've seen right now, I think we've got him in a good spot at 17. Coming in number 16, we've got another guy who was a defensive catcher and went off at the plate this year. That's Christian Vasquez. Similar to Roberto Perez, Christian Vasquez was not a good hitter the prior years. He was a platoon catcher with San De Leon. He was there for defense. But last year, he had a really fantastic season at the plate. 23 homers, 26 doubles, 72 RBIs, 276 batting average with a 320 on base, 477 slugging, and 798 OPS. Plus hitter last year. Defensively, he's still pretty solid. Not one of the best in the American League, but he's definitely above average. Combine that with his hitting, Christian Vasquez, pretty solid catcher. Right smack in the middle, coming in at number 15, I've got Robinson Chirinos, former catcher of the Houston Astros. Chirinos can definitely swing the bat. That's one big positive of him. 17 homers, 22 doubles, 58 RBIs, a 347 on base, 443 slugging, gives him a 790 OPS, above average as a hitting catcher. Defensively, he's solid, but he tends to box pitches. He's pretty horrible at framing, but he will block. Part of the reason why you saw Garrett Cole use Martin Maldonado. Not great at framing. Doesn't steal a lot of strikes. So as good as his offense is, and as good as he can be defensively, the framing is a big part for me, and he's just not great at it. So I can't put him much higher then pretty much right in the middle of the rankings. Ooh, people not gonna like this one, because at number 14, I'm going with Yadier Molina. Now, before you get mad, please don't take this as me saying Yadier's a bad player. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. But at age 37, he's just not that good anymore. Last year, he hit 10 homers, 24 doubles, 57 RBIs, 270 batting average, which is nice, but a 312 on base with a 399 slugging gives him a 711 OPS. That's just not good. That is below average for catchers. Yes, of course, he's still a beast behind the plate. He's one of the best fielding catchers we've ever seen, but he has taken a step back. His framing's not nearly as good. His arm is not nearly as good. Yes, he's still throwing out runners, but his average throw velocity is not that high anymore. He has one of the weaker arms in the league. You can find all these numbers on Baseball Savant, by the way. Yada gets at 14 because I still think he's better than the average catcher, but at age 37, you're going to see him getting worse and worse as the years go on. Coming in at number 13, I've got newly acquired catcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, Omar Nervious. Nervious is a pretty underrated catcher offensively. Defensively, he's about as bad as it can get in the league. Not very solid back there, but he does swing a plus bat. In Seattle last year, in 132 games, he hit 22 homers with 12 doubles to give him 55 RBIs, 278 average, 353 on base, 460 slugging at an 813 OPS. Anytime you have an OPS above 800, that's fantastic, and for a catcher, that's really good. I expect his numbers to be even better this year in 2020 because Milwaukee is a way better park to hit in than Seattle. Problem is just defensively and how he's going to handle a pitching staff. That's where he gets knocked down a bit because offensively, he's a top 10 guy, but overall, 13th. This next catcher might be the most underrated catcher in the major leagues. It's going to be Carson Kelly of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Trade to Arizona last offseason in the Paul Goldschmidt trade, he kind of went unnoticed, but he had a really nice year with Arizona in 2019. 18 homers, 19 doubles, 47 RBIs in 111 games, 245 batting average with a 348 on base, 478 slugging, and an 826 OPS. That is an exceptional year at the plate. Not to mention defensively, he is really good, and he's only 24 years old. He is a huge breakout candidate for me in 2020. This is a guy I would definitely keep a close eye on. I like a lot of what I've seen out of Carson Kelly thus far. I just need to see a little bit more for him to crack that top 10. Just missing out on the top 10 at number 11, another one that's going to anger people, Buster Posey. But it's just facts. He's just not very good anymore. 2018 was by far the worst season of his career, and then he followed it up with an even more disappointing 2019. First off, can't really say that healthy. He has injury problems, so he's not catching as much as he used to, and his power is completely gone. He's hit 12 home runs in the last 2 seasons, still averaging about 20 doubles, but 30 extra base hits on the year for a guy who used to be a former MVP just doesn't cut it. Plus, his average is starting to dip now. 320 on base, 257 batting average, a 368 slugging, like that's just bad, and a 688 OPS, really bad. Those are very weak offensive numbers for a catcher. Defensively, he's still very solid, but as he gets more and more injuries and as he gets older, his defense is going to continue to decline. He's probably going to end up becoming a first baseman or a DH at some point. I can't put him in the top 10 because he just doesn't do anything at the plate anymore. Posey is a shell of the player that he once was, which means it's time to get our top 10 started, and coming in at number 10 is going to be the Washington Nationals catcher Kurt Suzuki, who is the offensive side of that platoon in Washington. In 85 games, 280 at-bats last year, Kurt Suzuki had 17 homers with 11 doubles and 63 RBIs, a 264 average with a 324 on base, 486 slug, and gave him an 809 OPS. That's really strong. I mean, think about it. He plays a full season, he probably hits 25 homers and 20 doubles. That's great from a catcher. Like I said, he is the offensive side of the platoon. That's where his value comes, but defensively, he's not bad. He's just not a gold glover, but he's still pretty decent behind the plate, so I think number 10 is the right spot for him. The 9th best catcher in Major League Baseball, in my opinion, is going to be Wilson Ramos of the New York Mets. Another offensive-minded catcher because defensively, boy, it's a little bit rough. The guy can't really move anymore. Decent arm, but blocking, not strong. Tends to try to scoop a lot of things, and his framing is definitely below average. But he can hit. 14 homers, 19 doubles last year with 73 RBIs, a 288 batting average with a 351 on base, 416 slugging, and a 768 OPS. He constantly puts the ball in play, doesn't strike out a lot. Only 69 strikeouts in 2019 and 473 at-bats. But like I said, defensively, he's a little bit weak, but his offense definitely carries it. At the number 8 spot, I'm going to go with James McCann, who's probably not going to be the catcher for the White Sox in 2020 because he has Manny Grondahl, but he's still on that team, and I had to include him on this list. He had a great 2019. 18 homers, 26 doubles to give him 60 RBIs in 118 games, career high in batting average at 273, on base at 328, slugging at 460, and an OPS at 789. By far the best season of his career. It earned him a spot on their All-Star team in 2019. So he's a plus hitting catcher, he showed that last year, and he's a plus defensive catcher as well, really solid behind the plate. It's crazy because Yasmani Grandal is probably one of the only guys that could really dethrone him as the starting catcher in Chicago, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be used at DH, and I've got to give him a position. I can't leave off a top 10 guy on this list because he's technically not the starter. So James McCann comes in at number 8. Now I might be jumping the gun here, but at number 7, I got Will Smith of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Big Will Smith fan. This guy is a great catcher. In 54 games last year, he hit 15 homers with 9 doubles to give him 42 RBIs, a 253 batting average with a 337 on base, 571 slugging, gave him an OPS at 907. Now, yes, it's a very small sample size, only 54 games, but he hit 15 homers and 170 at-bats. That is crazy power from the catcher position, and defensively, he's really solid. The Dodgers guys actually don't mind pitching pitching to him. He did a really good job handling that staff in the small sample size. I like Will Smith a lot. I think he's a great catcher. Pushed Austin Barnes out of there in Los Angeles. Will Smith is a top 10 catcher in the game without a doubt. Coming in at number 6, I'm gonna go with Mitch Garver of the Minnesota Twins. Wow, what a season he had in 2019. Only played in 93 games, but didn't really matter because his production was crazy. 31 homers, 16 doubles, and a triple for 67 RBIs. So yeah, he was averaging about a home run every 10 at-bats, 273 batting average, 365 on base, 630 slugging to give him an OPS at 995. That's about as good as it gets offensively for a season, and he only played 93 games. Imagine if he played in like 120, you're seeing a catcher with possibly 40 homers. Oh yeah, and defensively, he's pretty solid as well. Not gonna win you Gold Gloves, not gonna be the best catcher in the league, but combined above average defense with insane hitting, Mitch Garver is definitely in the top 10. For the 5th best catcher in baseball, he didn't play at all in 2019 due to injury, but Salvador Perez still got it. Perez is one of the best defensive catchers in the league, one of the better hitting catchers in the league. It's interesting to see how he'll come back from such a big injury in 2020, but I still got faith in the guy. He's one of my favorite guys to watch behind the plate. So we're going off 2018 here, where he hit 27 homers, 23 doubles, and 80 RBIs, 235 batting average, a little low, refuses to walk, only walked 17 times that year, so low on base, but a 439 slugging gave him a 713 OPS. He hits home runs, doesn't walk, that's what you get with him, and he plays great defense behind the plate, cannon of an arm. Big Salvador Perez fan, I can't leave him outside of the top 5 just yet. He really hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. Gary Sanchez, a beast. Not the best catcher in the game though, I got him coming in at number 4. So with Gary Sanchez, you know what you're getting. Insane offense, the dude absolutely rakes at the plate, and you're getting absolutely horrendous defense behind the plate. One of the worst framers I have ever seen in Major League Baseball. This guy doesn't know how to catch. He's extremely lazy, refuses to block, constantly tries to scoop. Sometimes it seems like he forgets the signs and he's always getting crossed up. Does have an absolute cannon, probably the best arm in the league, but he is so horrible defensively. And yes, I know Yankee fans are gonna say he got better defensively. That doesn't mean he's good. He's still terrible there. You're lucky that he swings an insane bat at the plate, because otherwise he's not a great catcher. He hit 34 homers with 12 doubles to give him 77 RBIs in 2019, and that was only in 106 games, so you can see the value he has offensively. A 525 slugging percentage, 841 OPS. He's a beast hitter, just so bad behind the plate. For the 3rd best catcher in Major League Baseball, I'm gonna go with Chicago Cubs catcher Willson Contreras. I really like Willson Contreras. He took a big step forward last year, having a great year offensively. After somewhat disappointing 2018, he hit 24 homers with 18 doubles and 2 triples to give him 64 RBIs, 272 batting average, 355 on base, 533 slugging, and an 888 OPS. Definitely a plus offensive catcher, and that was in 105 games. He did have some injury issues. Behind the plate, he's a little bit of like a young Yachty, not nearly as good, but he reminds me a lot of him. Loves to throw behind runners, has a cannon of an arm, very athletic, blocks almost everything. I really like Willson Contreras. He's a fun catcher to watch, especially if you understand what makes a good catcher, and he's definitely one of them. So yeah, number 3. So for number 2, we got another Chicago catcher. That's Manny Grondahl, who's now on the White Sox. Grondahl just misses out on the number 1 spot, and it is ever so close because he is so good. Offensively, elite. Defensively, elite. He's a switch hitter. He's a beast. 28 homers, 26 doubles, and 2 triples in 2019 to give him 77 RBIs, a 246 batting average with a 380 on base. He walked 109 times last year, 468 slugging, and an 848 OPS. Gross offensive numbers. And then defensively, he's fantastic as well. One of the best framers in the league. I know he got benched a couple times in the playoffs with the Dodgers because of his defense. Something happens towards the end of the year, but the guy is amazing at framing, and that's one of the more important parts of catching is framing. Big Manny Grondahl guy. He is without a doubt a top 2 catcher in the league. Some could argue even number 1. For me, he just misses out on that top spot, because undoubtedly the number 1 catcher in Major League Baseball has to be JT Realmuto. Realmuto is a beast. He's a stud. I wanted him on the Mets. Unfortunately, the Phillies got him now, and he's pretty good. He made an impact last year. First off, caught 145 games last year. That's crazy. 25 home runs, 36 doubles, 3 triples, 83 RBIs. He is the most athletic catcher in Major League Baseball. The guy runs faster than a lot of players that are not catchers in the game. Hits for a high average, 275. Doesn't walk a whole lot, a 328 on base, but he slugs well, 493, and an OPS at 820. Disgusting offensively. And behind the plate, he is so incredibly underrated. Won the Gold Glove in 2019, very deservedly so. Frames a beautiful game, throws out runners, quick release, blocks pitches, does everything you want out of your catcher, and he hits. He's a complete package. JT Realmuto is without a doubt the number 1 catcher in Major League Baseball, and if you ain't put him at 1, he's number 2. That's it. There's no other conversation. So those are my rankings for the top catchers in Major League Baseball. I'd love to know what you guys think about them down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? The 12 days of rankings are coming at you strong. If you guys are enjoying it, it would be very much appreciated if you could leave a like. A lot of time and effort going into these. Remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of the content that's coming at you these next few months or ever. And make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. That's where we're going to wrap up today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. You know the drill. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here, as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow for another one. Bye.